Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, Life, Law, Bin. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you guys again. I've got a special guest with me today, and her name is Mishal Ursani. She's one of our fabulous IFBM volunteer coordinators. It's such a pleasure for you to join us today, Mishal.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. No, if for those of you who are a real fan of Life Law BIM, you'd know that most of the time I ask our guests for a fun fact about themselves before we get started. So, Michelle, give us a fun fact about yourself.
I think a fun fact about myself is that before I wanted to pursue law, I wanted to be in a band and play bass.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's really cool. So, does that mean you can play bass really well then?
Yes, in school I was in a band and I played bass and we like would do shows all the time, but yeah.
That's awesome. Honestly, I don't know why, but I feel like I could see you a bit of a rock star, or a pop star, like rocking out.
Thank you, thank you. That's the
No.
plan B.
And I'm sure you're gonna kill it. You kill plan A, and you never know, sorry. You could
Yeah,
also do that on the side, like as some kind of recreational thing you'd enjoy
yeah,
it. Yeah.
definitely.
All
Yes.
right. So, let's jump into it. I'm sure those who are viewing or listening to us today want to know a bit about yourself. So I'm gonna ask you to just introduce yourself briefly. Okay.
Okay, so I'm 20 years old and I'm from Pakistan, and I'm currently doing my LLB from UCL. I'm in my second year, and I've been in the UK since 2023, which is when I first started my LLB. And I applied to become a coordinator for IFBM because I was following IFBM. I found out about it because Nia herself had come to my university for a panel talk. And so I learned that there was this community that supported those people that want to pursue a career at the bar in England, despite not being from England. And that was something that was quite important to me since I just moved there. And so that's really why I wanted to find that community, find people, and so that's why I decided to apply for volunteer to IFBM.
Oh, that's brilliant. So how long have you been in the UK
Mm.
pursuing this career at the Bar of England and Wales?
So yeah, as I said, it's only been since I came to uni in October 2023. But you know, with the nature of this journey, that's already a lot of time to start exploring and doing things and so on. Um, And I think I knew that I wanted to start pursuing this quite a while before, but I really only got a proper taste of it when I started uni.
Yes, I feel like I can relate because it was when I was in my undergrad that I learned for the first time that there's a distinction between solicitors and barristers. Because when
Yeah.
I first came, I just knew I wanted to be a lawyer, as there's no distinction at home. So I just knew I wanted to be a lawyer, and that's when I found out. So you're doing a really good thing, a really good job, and in getting yourself versed between the two and the distinctions and that kind of thing. Now, you did explain there, why you applied to become IFBM's volunteer coordinator. What would you say are the benefits of being one of IFBM's coordinators?
Mm. I would say that the number one thing is a community. You get to interact with like-minded people, whether they're fellow volunteers, whether they are people that are applying for the mentorship scheme, barristers that like help run, as mentors help run IFBM. You get a community of people that have similar experiences to you in the sense that they have international backgrounds. And community can be very invaluable when you are trying to explore this new ground, you will of course come across a lot of people that want to pursue a career at the bar, but the advice that they will give is not necessarily relevant to you as someone with an international background. You know, like for example, there's so many opportunities for people who went to state school in the UK if they want to pursue the bar, but even though that's a very valid and important thing, that's not applicable to those of us that didn't study in the UK in the first place. So it's always good that you have that community. Definitely.
Yeah, agreed. And then I think, you know, I know that's the reason I started IFBM because we have unique experiences, and it's just certain things that when you're part of that community, you get to bounce ideas off of one another. You get to learn from each other's experiences, and gain insight that you wouldn't otherwise gain from someone who hasn't gone through similar experiences. So it's so, so important. And I'm glad that you can see it as beneficial. Now,
Yeah.
I want to talk a bit about your legal journey. Why did you decide to pursue law?
So when I was back home in Pakistan, all around me were examples of the fact that when people didn't have proper litigation and proper like legal advice resources, there would be a lot of problems. Like my own family, for instance, when we dealt with issues such as, people targeting my father's businesses and property, and there would end up being a lot of administrative legal work. Unfortunately, when there aren't enough, good lawyers around, everyday average people struggle to get through all these issues that come across to them, which, many people might underestimate how often the average person may have to end up dealing with a legal issue or have to go to court. So that's why I wanted to pursue law, and in particularly at the Bar of England and Wales, because there is such a rich history of, barristers that are known to be very skilled and very prestigious. It's a very prestigious journey to do it, to do the bar from England and Wales. That's kind of a globally recognized thing, I think. Yeah.
Now, you're currently in second year of in the second year of your LLB. When did you know? Because that's a short time period between obviously first year and second year.
Mm.
But obviously you could have made the decision before, but when did you know that you wanted to pursue a career at the Bar of England and Wales, and what do you think influenced it?
I think I was it was quite early when I came to the UK. And of course, when I came to the UK, I was thinking already about, achieving like, being called to the bar here. But then to actually practice here, to actually develop a legal practice that was long standing here is something that I decided that I would do actually when I was at that panel talk with, where you were and other international people of international backgrounds who were barristers were there, and they were talking about how um, England in particular is a very, very big place with a lot of diversity. And in particular, when it comes to pursuing a career at the bar here, the opportunities really are endless. Like, I already feel drawn to the bar because of feeling passionate about advocacy and litigation. And as you study in England and as you get to interact with barristers that have similar backgrounds to yours, you really realize that the breadth of experience that you will have here and the history of the bar here is quite incomparable to other places around the world.
It seems as though that panel talk seems to have been quite influential in your choice. And I'm so glad because you know you go, you do these talks, and you're not really sure who or if you're making any impact. So it's really good to hear that
Yeah,
it was impactful in some way. Now, I want to
definitely.
talk, yeah, I want to talk briefly about your work experience. Can you
Mm.
identify three ways in which your volunteering and your work experience will assist you in the future in securing pupillage?
Yeah, I think that there's quite a few ways actually. One is that volunteering for IFBM makes it so that you are up to date on legal news, up to date on the world of the bar in England and Wales. And so managing, learning all this information, putting it out for an audience, that makes it so that I myself am well informed about, the pathway to the bar and also the various opportunities around it. I feel like it keeps me well informed. And in addition to that, linked to that, volunteering for IFBM demonstrates an interest of mine in the bar. It demonstrates that I do have a passion for it, that I am, volunteering for a cause that upholds, um, you know, uh, the journeys of people that want to pursue a career at the bar. And then I think lastly, volunteering, requires oftentimes dealing with different people, people who apply for the mentorship scheme, communicating with people, communicating with other volunteers, and, day to day, just managing the workload. And I think being able to be like a very administrative, in an administrative sense, communicating with everyone, making sure work gets done, that is something that mirrors the day-to-day work of a barrister who will have to communicate with clients, communicate with people, ensure that, workload is delegated, etc. So, yeah.
I know, and I'm really grateful that you have spoken quite a bit about IFBM, but I also know that you've got some interesting work experience under your belt. How do you think that's going to assist you in pupillage as well?
I think some of the significant amount of work that I've been doing since coming to the UK is pro bono volunteering. So I volunteered at a community center at Waterloo, and currently I'm looking to work with Lawyers Without Borders, etc. And I think that these sorts of opportunities are the kinds that really help you ground what it means to work in law and the kinds of people that, need legal help. Um, People will come in with their issues, and it won't be like a problem question that you get in your exam where it's clearly set out what legal points and what to do and etc. These are real people that will come in with their real problems, and it is your job to then use your legal knowledge to analyze their situation and apply the information you have to what they're dealing with. And I think that's the nature of the work of a barrister a lot of the times. You get these clients, you get people who are looking to you to tell them, using your legal expertise, what your analysis is of the situation and what to do. And I think doing pro bono for students will help take you away from this, mindset that a student may have of looking at law purely through an academic lens and actually applying it to real life.
That's brilliant because there is a slight disconnect between what happens in academia and then what happens in the real world. No, we do need the academic component because you need to get that foundation. You need to know, obviously, the principles of the core areas of law, but then I think I strongly encourage, exactly what you're doing. Get out there, do some pro bono work, see how it actually works in the
Yeah.
real world because you're right to point out that with the problem question that the school sets, they're looking for certain points and it kind of fits into a neat box. So if, for example, it's real property or land law that you're dealing with, you expect all the legal points in your question to come only from land law or real property.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah.
the real world, there's so many overlapping issues.
Yeah.
It's not going to fit in one neat box. It may be land law, it may be a bit of crime in there, depending on what the person is doing.
Yeah.
So many kind of shades of gray, and that's why I think what you're doing is excellent, and I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap it up, you are an international applicant, and there are several challenges that we face. I know all too well about it, and I think it's important for us to always use our platform to share the challenges that we encounter and how we overcome them. So, as an international aspiring barrister, I want you to name two of the most significant challenges that you've encountered in your pursuit of a career at the bar here in England and Wales.
I think that the struggles that an international person can experience can definitely be divided into two categories. One is the practical aspect. So, for instance, we have to worry about visas. We have to worry about the fact that we've moved to a new country, and this means, most people who have grown up in a country, their parents help them set up their first bank accounts and their phone numbers, and making sure that, you have the right to rent isn't something that people who are, have grown up here have to worry about. So I think, one thing that I would advise people on is like make sure that you are well researched on all of your administrative and legal necessities. Like if you need to rent, if you need to work part-time, what are the requirements you have to fulfill? And, your budgeting would be different to, let's say, someone who's grown up here. So, that's one part of the challenges of just being in a new country and trying to be a resident. And then the second half, I think, in particular, when it comes to wanting to pursue the bar, is that your life experience and your perspective is not necessarily the one that is always reflected. For instance, like I mentioned earlier, when we talk about opportunities that are available for people that want to pursue the bar, and those opportunities are centered around struggles that people may face. Things like going to state school, for instance, and neurodiversity. These are things that are very valid. But a lot of the times, if you're an international, you don't fit in that category of how you receive schooling, and B, I think I myself, as like other internationals, we often talk about how support that is provided for issues in uni and in trying to pursue a career at the bar, we weren't even, we never even considered that we may face these issues or have these problems. Like, we if we have disabilities or if we have neurodivergence, these aren't things that we were taught to actually explore before we came here. And so, whereas other people know the challenges, know what setbacks they have, and know how to, gain support for that, we never had the perspective of recognizing what challenges we face. We were just told to just move ahead and be like everybody else. So that's something I think international applicants have to learn as a new perspective. And I think culturally as well, sometimes cultural language is something that helps people communicate and get along with each other at like networking events. Whereas we may struggle and we may fall back for a bit because we're still learning how to communicate in a way that feels like we fit in with everyone else. But, with time, these things do come to you.
But you probably have started to wonder where I'm going next. You've listed some challenges, and I'm grateful for that. Um, how did you overcome, or how were you overcoming some of these challenges?
I would say the first type of challenge that I highlighted, which is having to deal with the daily little practical things. That's really as simple as I think two things. One is do your own research, like don't feel overwhelmed by it, because as much as it may feel overwhelming to have all of your documents and have everything sorted out and etc., that doesn't mean that it's impossible for a person to do. And especially as someone, I'm sure anyone who is thinking of pursuing, like, a legal career shouldn't be too worried about getting overwhelmed by tasks like these. As long as you sit down, make a list, and just tackle it, you'll be fine. And additionally, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions from people that have gone through the same thing. Don't be afraid to ask questions from whatever support or legal not legal, sorry, like support or advice systems are present. Like just ask questions, ask for guidance. Don't feel embarrassed about if you don't know something or if you don't understand something. You can ask for people to explain it to you. And on the other hand, when it comes to, your perspective and the way that you interact with people and the things that you know in like, a cultural sense and a background sense, I think that's as simple as, don't feel ashamed of the fact that you have thought differently or if you've known differently. Don't feel ashamed of that, but be open-minded. Have self-confidence. Just know that being confident is what is going to get you ahead. Like, don't let anything make you feel like, okay, this is the point where I give up because clearly I'm not meant for this. I don't fit in. You will find your own unique way of seeing things, like without losing who you are as an international person. but also learning to be a part of the greater community that you now have in the UK. It's really just a matter of having self-assurance and having self-confidence, but also being open-minded and interacting with as many people as you can. Um, and just, sometimes you can, rephrase like your experiences and what you know and apply them to this new environment that you're in. So, yeah.
Excellent. And I always say that your background is your superpower. So you
Yeah.
have to lean into it and be confident
Yeah.
and courageous as you go forward. It's what makes you special, it's what makes you unique. And if you have decided to come all the way here, it means you've got it in you. Like you actually have got it in you. You can do this. You know how I feel about these kind of things anyway. I know it's only been a short journey so far with you in the UK. Would you be able to name one or two of your proudest moments so far in pursuing the bar? Obviously, it's going to change over time, but as of
Yeah.
right now, any one or two of your proudest moments we'd be grateful to hear.
I would say that one of the proudest moments I've had recently is that um, was doing my internal debate competition for UCL. And d debate is this specific, specifically parliamentary debate is something that I've never done before. So I was quite worried. I was like, am I wasting my time and my time studying if I, go and lose anyway? So I was feeling like there's no point. But then, a voice in my head said, no, like, I'm here to have as much experience as I can. Like, and what matters at the end of the day is the experience. And so I went and I competed and, the first two rounds I won. And that was something that was completely unexpected for me. And, it's not even about being proud about this accomplishment. It's about I was so happy that something that I truly didn't see happening for myself happened anyway. And I think that's just something that I, want to be known as for people as, just an inspiration to do the thing, even if you seriously don't think that anything will come out of it. There's always a point in trying. Um,
That's
yeah,
excellent. And that's
yeah,
me just kind of reacting with the celebratory
yeah.
streamers.
Thank you. Yes.
That's excellent. Congratulations on that. That's always huge. And I'm sure it was competitive and it was educational and you learnt a lot. So well done. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you've got to take a
Yeah.
moment as well to celebrate all of the victories, all of the small victories. You've got to stop and just celebrate. You don't just wait for big moments because it's
Yeah.
these little things that get you to what we see as the big moments. So you've got to celebrate them.
Yeah.
Before we wrap it
Thank
up,
you.
before we conclude, what would you say to those international aspiring barristers who are sitting, who are listening, and who are
Mm.
keen to pursue a career at the Bar of England and Wales, but are just feeling a little bit scared?
Yeah. Just know that it's very normal to feel scared and feel overwhelmed. And it's, normal to feel like you don't know where you're going. I would say the number one thing to not do is be isolated and not talk to people about this. Think that, oh, well, either give up alone or try to, make sure that you're going to go through this alone. It's not reasonable for any one person to not have a support system and not have people around them that will, ensure that they're cheered on and that they can, have someone be there when they need it. Don't think that it's a good thing to be a lone wolf. It's good to have a support system and friends and people that you relate to.
Excellent. You heard it, folks. This was a great interview, a great episode as usual. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your insight.
Thank you for having me. I've had a good time.
No problem. It's always a pleasure. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the channel. Take care of yourself, folks. See you later. Bye.